A woman who cheats always leaves these signs. Female psychology, Stoicism, modern Stoic. The truth does not change according to our ability to stomach it. Flannery O'Connor. Let's start with clarity, not comfort. Infidelity rarely kicks down the door. It's more like a slow leak in the foundation, quiet, persistent, and often ignored until the damage is undeniable. Before the heart breaks, the signs whisper. A woman who's drifting, emotionally or physically, doesn't vanish without a trace. She leaves fingerprints, shifts in her energy, subtle fractures in connection that, if you're honest with yourself, you can feel long before anything explodes. It could be in the sidelong glances that never meet your own, the sudden wall of secrecy, passwords, silenced phones, late nights with no explanation, a new wardrobe, a sharper look, hours at the gym. But the compliments don't come your way. Physical closeness evaporates, conversations turn hollow, and even silence feels different. She's present, but not here. These are not coincidences. They are patterns, clues. Yet too many men, strong on the outside but uncertain within, dismiss them. She's just tired. She needs space. It's probably nothing. We explain away discomfort to protect a fragile version of the truth, but a man rooted in Stoicism doesn't seek protection from pain. He seeks perspective through it. The Stoics taught us to look at life as it is, not as we wish it to be. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That same principle applies to your relationships. The discomfort you feel, that tightness in your chest, the unease in your gut, is not weakness. It's wisdom asking to be heard. This is not about blame or bitterness. It's about being awake. Some betrayals come from wounds, from people who are lost, confused, or searching for something they cannot name. But your role isn't to fix them. It's to honor what you observe. Because when you ignore the signs, you surrender your boundaries. And what you excuse, you eventually endure. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to explode. But you do need to see. Not to become cynical, but to become clear. Not to live in fear, but to live with your eyes open. If something in your relationship feels misaligned, don't shame yourself for noticing. Trust the quiet part of you that knows. A wise man does not chase ghosts, but neither does he ignore the creaks in his floorboards. Let's explore the signs, not to harden you, but to sharpen you, because pain may visit us, but dignity should never have to leave. Let's begin. Sign 1. Her attention shifts, and she pretends it hasn't. Her attention doesn't disappear, it quietly shifts, and while she may act like nothing has changed, you know better, you feel it, not in your head, but in your gut, like when the air turns still before a thunderstorm. One day, she's laughing at your jokes, texting you just to say she misses you, asking about your day like it matters to her. Then slowly, something fades. You tell a story that would have made her laugh months ago, but now she barely smiles. Her responses become shorter, colder, and the warmth that once made you feel seen has gone missing. She's still there. Technically, but it's like talking to a version of her that's running on autopilot. And when you try to bring it up, to make sense of what you're seeing, she throws it back at you. You're overthinking. You've been distant too. Don't be so dramatic. These aren't answers, they're distractions. And deep down, you know it. Because women don't emotionally detach for no reason. When her spirit starts to drift, it's often already halfway gone. Whether it's into someone else's attention, a dream of escape, or a longing to feel free again. Here's a real-life example to make this even clearer. Imagine this. A man, let's call him Mike, has been with his wife for 12 years. They've built a home, raised 2 kids, and built a routine. But somewhere along the way, Mike got comfortable. He stopped asking her how her day went, assuming she'd tell him if it mattered. He started spending his evenings scrolling his phone, zoning out in front of the TV, not out of disrespect, but out of exhaustion, habit, or distraction. His wife, Lisa, meanwhile, started reconnecting with old college friends online, casually at first. One day, a guy from her past sent a funny meme, then a compliment, then a memory from the good old days. It sparked something in her she hadn't felt in years. Laughter, interest, lightness. Suddenly, her phone became her escape. Mike noticed her pulling away. She didn't laugh at dinner. She was just tired every night. The intimacy faded. When he finally asked, "What's going on?" she snapped, "You're just being paranoid." But she was already gone, emotionally. Mike had sensed it for weeks, but had no language for what he felt. That right there, that creeping shift in energy, in presence, in desire, is how it starts. And here's where timeless wisdom steps in. As Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." These moments, when the connection fades and confusion replaces comfort, this is the friction, the test, and how you respond will shape who you are becoming. Most men make one of two mistakes. They either ignore the signs, hoping things will magically reset, or they panic and cling, overwhelming her and losing themselves in the process. But the path of the modern Stoic, rooted in presence, not panic, is different. You observe without illusion. You ask, "Is this within my control?" You don't accuse her. You examine yourself. Have you become too passive? Have you lost your edge? Are you still living with purpose or just existing? See, the world today makes emotional loyalty fragile. There are more distractions than ever. The buzz of social media, the dopamine hit of a like, the fantasy of escape that's just one message away. Emotional betrayal often begins long before physical lines are crossed, and when a woman's energy starts going elsewhere, when she's no longer emotionally invested, you don't need to catch her cheating. The disconnection is the evidence. So what can a man do when he feels this shift? He doesn't beg. He doesn't chase. He elevates. He confronts himself. He wakes up. Not for her, but for himself. A man who lives with purpose, who sharpens his mind, stays physically strong, emotionally grounded, spiritually aligned, is harder to replace, harder to shake. Whether she comes back or walks away, he stands tall. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Her distance is not the end, it's the lesson. Let it break your comfort. Let it reignite your discipline. Let it call you back to the man you once were, or the man you need to become. The signs are always there. A woman doesn't pull away because she's trying to hurt you. She pulls away because something inside her has changed. Your job isn't to fix her. Your job is to see clearly, act with strength and rise, no matter the outcome. Real strength isn't about holding on to what's leaving. It's about holding on to yourself. Staying aware, staying awake, staying powerful. If this message resonates with you, like this video, send it to a man who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more grounded truth and timeless wisdom. We're building a space for real men, honest, strong, and unshakable. Share your story in the comments. Have you ever seen these signs before the relationship collapsed? Let's talk. Let's grow together. Comment to remember. I choose clarity over illusion. Sign 2. She picks fights that don't make sense. She starts fights that come out of nowhere. At least, that's how it feels. One day, she's upset because you didn't text back quickly enough while you were at work. The next, she's turning a few unwashed dishes into a grand narrative about how you never really see her or care. You're left scratching your head, wondering when the mood shifted, when the warmth turned into cold accusations. But here's the truth that most men miss. It's not about the text or the dishes, and deep down, you know it. What you're witnessing is emotional displacement, a subtle but powerful psychological defense mechanism where someone offloads internal conflict by finding external fault. In this case, when a woman begins to emotionally detach, or worse, steps outside the relationship, she may begin to project her own guilt onto you. It's like a guilty conscience trying to justify its actions by turning you into the bad guy. Suddenly, everything is your fault. You don't communicate well. You're too busy. You've lost touch. The Stoics warned us that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And you're now caught in the crossfire of her imagined grievances, which help her justify behaviour she herself may be struggling to admit. Think about it like this. If she's emotionally involved with someone else, even if only in her thoughts, the dissonance between who she is and who she claims to be becomes unbearable. So she shifts the burden. She needs a reason to feel right, so you must be wrong. That's when phrases like, "I just need space to figure myself out," or "you don't support my growth," start to appear, sounding almost noble, but often masking betrayal under the costume of self-discovery. And while modern culture frequently praises finding yourself, the truth is that real growth never requires deception or destruction. Imagine this. A man in his 50s, let's call him Dan, a solid provider who thought his marriage of 20 years was on stable ground. Suddenly, his wife starts criticizing everything, from how he loads the dishwasher to the way he talks to her friends. It seemed petty, but the tension was real. What Dan didn't see right away was that these fights were a smokescreen. His wife had been reconnecting with an old college flame online, and the guilt was eating away at her. Rather than confront it, she made Dan the problem. This is emotional misdirection, a classic way of shifting attention and blame. Most men, especially those raised to be protectors and providers, fall into the trap of overcorrecting. They try to fix what seems broken, not realizing they're being emotionally baited. You begin walking on eggshells, questioning your own behavior, trying harder to please her, not knowing you're playing a role in a narrative she's already rewritten. Ancient wisdom says, "He who angers you conquers you." When you react with confusion, guilt, or desperation, you hand over your power. Instead, like a modern Stoic, you must remain grounded. Observe instead of react. Listen not just to what is said, but to what is avoided. Is she deflecting from her own inconsistencies? Are her accusations disproportionate or sudden? Has she started rewriting the history of your relationship, claiming you were always distant, always wrong? These are signs, gentlemen. They may not come with flashing lights, but they are consistent. Increased secrecy with her phone, an overemphasis on needing independence, mood swings that seem unprovoked, or even a sudden reinvention of identity that excludes you entirely. In today's world, this behavior is often disguised as empowerment, wrapped in buzzwords like healing and alignment. But let's be clear. Empowerment built on blame is a house of cards. As Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Integrity is still the cornerstone of true personal growth. And when someone justifies hurting you as part of their journey, it's a red flag, not a revelation. Your role in this is not to convince her to stay or decode her shifting moods. Your role is to remain centered, strong, and honest with yourself. Is this relationship still based on mutual respect and truth, or are you holding onto a version of her that no longer exists? A memory, not a person? This isn't about being bitter or closing off. It's about waking up. You don't win back respect by begging for clarity from someone who's already rewritten the script. You earn peace by stepping out of the confusion and standing firm in your values. Think of a friend of mine, Mark, who after years of feeling like a stranger in his own home, finally recognized that the constant criticism and detachment weren't about him. They were a shield for her guilt. When he stopped chasing explanations and started reclaiming his time, space, and confidence, he didn't just survive the end of the relationship, he rebuilt a better version of himself. And you can too. You must understand, seeing the signs doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. Denial delays healing. Awareness begins it. In the words of Epictetus, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That means mastering not just your emotions, but your boundaries, your expectations, and your sense of self-worth. Don't let someone else's guilt become your emotional burden. Choose clarity over chaos, dignity over desperation, and peace over performance. So now I ask you, have you ever felt this shift, where the fights didn't make sense and the warmth slowly disappeared? Did you notice the justifications, the role reversal, the subtle rewriting of your shared history? Drop your experience in the comments below. Let's talk man to man, not in bitterness, but in wisdom. because the more we recognize the patterns, the more power we gain to navigate love, not just with hope, but with clarity and strength. Sign 3. The intimacy vanishes, or mutates. When a woman begins to drift, it doesn't explode like thunder. It fades like a whisper, slow, quiet, invisible to the untrained eye, but screaming to the man who sees with awareness, not just sight. The first betrayal doesn't start with another man's hands. It starts when hers stop touching you with love. The intimacy vanishes, or mutates. She pulls away, and you feel it. The warmth turns to routine. Her body's there, but her soul isn't. Her eyes avoid yours. Her touch becomes mechanical, her passion replaced by performance. Or worse, she flips the script, becomes hypersexual, new moves, new energy, new fire, but it's not yours. It's rehearsed, borrowed, bought from a fantasy she no longer shares with you. And in both cases, whether cold or counterfeit, the truth is the same. She's investing elsewhere, because intimacy is emotional currency, and when she starts spending it outside, you're left with crumbs or a show. This is no longer love. It's a cover-up, a tactic, a guilt softener. And if you lie there feeling lonelier beside her than when you're alone, brother, the show's already over. Stoicism isn't passivity. It's power. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Her cheating? That's an outside event. But your response? That's your kingdom. And kings don't beg. Kings decide. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So react with clarity. React with strength. React with silence that speaks louder than shouting. Most men stay too long because they mistake suffering for loyalty. But pain that teaches is power, and denial is death. She's not confused. She's calculated. You are the one who's been conditioned to ignore your gut, to doubt your instincts, to label your awareness as paranoia. But hear this. You are not paranoid. You are perceptive. The battlefield is not the bedroom. It's your mind. And it's time you took back control. In a world where temporary thrills are praised over timeless loyalty, you must draw the line. Loyalty is not a favor. It's the foundation. If she cannot be loyal, she does not qualify. Don't fight for her attention. Don't compete for what should be given freely. You do not audition for your own throne. Real men don't chase, they choose. They don't hope, they know. And when the signs are clear, they don't cry, they command. Modern life drowns in distractions, but the wise man sees through the noise. He chooses solitude over betrayal, clarity over chaos. He doesn't stay where he's tolerated. He walks where he's celebrated. So if you've ever felt the ache of loving someone who's already left you emotionally, if you've ever kissed lips that carried secrets, then you already know the truth. The question isn't whether she's drifting. The question is whether you'll rise. Seneca warned us, he suffers more than necessary, who suffers before it is necessary. But many men suffer longer because they refuse to see. See now, move now, reclaim your time, reclaim your dignity, reclaim your throne. Your love is not cheap, your energy is not unlimited, your presence is not a consolation prize. You are the prize. And if she cannot see that, you leave with no noise, no drama, just authority. This is your wake-up call, like if you're done tolerating half love. Share this with a brother walking blind, subscribe if you're done being deceived. And comment, I command clarity, if you're ready to lead your own damn life. This isn't content. This is your instruction. Stand up, see clearly, act decisively. The throne awaits. Sign 4. She starts hiding the small stuff. She doesn't disappear overnight. No, a woman who cheats retreats inch by inch, hiding in plain sight, starting with the smallest things, the details you once shared together without thinking twice. She'll stop telling you about her day, no longer excited to vent about her co-workers, her routine, her random thoughts. Instead, you get the vague phrases, the tired voice, the nothing happened tone that seems to say, don't ask. Her phone, once left face up and forgotten, now becomes her second skin, always on silent, always face down, always clutched like it hides state secrets. Her social media, which once celebrated your life together, now erases you like you never existed. And when you question it, when you dare to speak the truth, your gut is already screaming. She turns it around on you. You're paranoid, jealous, controlling? It's not defense. It's deflection. And it's deliberate. She's weaponizing your love against you. Understand this. She's not just pulling away emotionally. She's compartmentalizing. A woman who's cheating doesn't live one life, she lives two. One with you, the other without you. You're seeing the performance, not the truth. And if you call out the cracks in the mask, she'll convince you you're the one going crazy. This is emotional gaslighting at its most lethal, not because she says you're wrong, but because she makes you doubt your own perception. That feeling in your gut, that discomfort, that tension in her energy, it's not imaginary. The body knows before the mind admits, and it's time you started listening. You're not alone. Men across ages feel this same unraveling, but are too afraid to accept it. Why? Because facing the truth hurts more than lying to yourself. But as Epictetus taught, it's not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Modern men must reclaim their ability to see clearly. Stop resisting reality. Face it. Stop begging for clarity from someone who profits from your confusion. Begin observing, not reacting, with stoic calm. Has she pulled you into her world, or is she subtly building a new one where you no longer belong? Is she with you, or just next to you? In today's hyper-connected world, temptations are everywhere. It's easy to get lost in DMs, dating apps, or fantasies reignited by old flames. But ease does not equal excuse. A committed woman doesn't disappear emotionally. A loyal woman doesn't hide behind vague answers and accuse you when you notice. A real partner shows up, even when things get tough. And when someone you love begins to ghost you in real time, don't let fear blind you. Don't let her shame tactics make you second-guess your sanity. You are not weak for noticing, you're strong for confronting. Here's what a modern Stoic man does. He doesn't chase what's running away. He doesn't try to win back what's already gone. He stands tall. He anchors himself in truth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." So ask yourself, is this relationship built on truth? If not, then what exactly are you holding on to? If her loyalty is gone, then your clarity is your sword. Use it. Don't betray yourself in the name of love. She may have her secrets, but those are hers to carry. Your job is to rise above the fog, to lead yourself out of emotional chaos and back into self-respect. And remember, when she lies, distracts, or gaslights, it's not just her loyalty in question, it's your identity. Don't lose who you are trying to hold on to who she was. Choose power. Choose peace. Choose self-mastery. Comment, "I choose clarity over chaos," if you're ready to stop ignoring the signs and start standing in truth. Like, share, subscribe, because men everywhere need to hear this. This isn't just content, it's a call to power. Sign 5. Her words say love, but her actions say otherwise. Her words may echo with warmth, but if her actions paint a colder picture, that dissonance is not just a passing mood. It's a deeper signal, one that men often ignore because they want to believe in the comfort of words more than the discomfort of reality. She might still say, "I care about you," or "You mean everything to me." But if your gut feels hollow every time you hear it, that's not paranoia, it's perception. You start to notice that the affectionate touches are no longer spontaneous, the conversations lack substance, and the once genuine laughter now feels like background noise. This isn't just emotional drift, it's the silent unraveling of connection. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, wrote that we must observe people not by their declarations, but by the patterns of their actions. And in this truth lies your power. When a woman says she loves you, but increasingly avoids intimacy, dismisses your emotional needs, or seems more invested in how things appear to others than how they feel between the two of you, she is revealing more than her words ever could. In Stoic thought, clarity comes from embracing what is real, not what is wished for. And this is where emotional resilience begins. Modern men, particularly those in midlife, between 35 and 70, are especially vulnerable to this contradiction because they've built emotional loyalty over years, often decades. You remember the fire in her eyes when you first met, the shared dreams, the late-night talks that made you feel like the center of her universe. But clinging to those memories can blind you to what's happening now. Female psychology reveals a pattern men often underestimate. Emotional withdrawal almost always precedes infidelity. By the time she entertains the thought of cheating, she's usually been gone emotionally for far longer than you realized. Her words persist out of habit, or perhaps guilt, but the soul of her love, if it was ever truly there, has exited. You might catch yourself brushing off your observations saying, "She's just tired," or "We've both been busy." But when kindness feels performative, affection is rationed, and only surfaces in public or out of obligation, you're not crazy for noticing. These are psychological defense mechanisms, camouflage, to delay the inevitable reckoning. The Stoics would see this as your moment of clarity, a quiet unveiling that demands not outrage, but honest assessment. You see, the problem isn't that you don't know something is wrong, it's that you hope you're wrong. And hope, as comforting as it can be, is not a strategy. Seneca warned that deceiving oneself is more damaging than being deceived by others. The lies we tell ourselves. She's just going through something, or it'll get better soon. Keep us stuck in limbo. But love isn't meant to be deciphered like a puzzle. It should be felt in its consistency. In today's world of constant distractions, endless social media validations, and emotional detachment masked as independence, it's become easy for people to drift apart while still going through the motions. But the man who chooses to see clearly rather than hope blindly arms himself with dignity. And here lies a critical truth. When someone loves you, genuinely loves you, they don't make you doubt it. Love is not about saying the right words under the right lighting. It's about the mundane moments, the way she remembers what matters to you, how she stands by you in silence, not just speaks when convenient. Now imagine this from another angle. Suppose a close friend told you that you meant the world to him, but never returned your calls, always cancelled plans, and only reached out when he needed something. You wouldn't hesitate to call that out, right? Yet with romantic partners, especially long-term ones, we often tolerate the kind of treatment we'd never accept from anyone else. Why? Because we confuse shared history with shared intention. But memories don't build the future. Actions do. In a modern context, this awareness is crucial. Life today moves fast, filled with responsibilities, but even amid chaos, people show up for what they care about. A partner who slowly fades out emotionally is showing you where their priorities lie. And while it hurts, acknowledging this empowers you to stop chasing ghosts and start honouring your own worth. Wisdom isn't just found in spotting deceit, it's found in refusing to live under it. So what do you do when you've seen the signs and can no longer deny the truth? You don't grovel for connection. You don't plead for her to love you in the way she used to. What you do is reclaim your voice. Talk, set boundaries, and if necessary, walk. Do it with calm, do it with clarity, but above all, do it with self-respect. There's no shame in trying to fix things, but there is danger in trying to fix someone who's already checked out. The Stoic path doesn't preach detachment out of bitterness. It teaches detachment through wisdom. And wisdom is recognizing that love is not earned through suffering. It is shown through presence, action, and unwavering respect. A woman who loves you doesn't leave you guessing. She doesn't weaponize silence or affection. Her love is steady, not theatrical. It's reliable, not reactive. That's the love you hold on to. And if it's not what you're getting, then you're not the one losing. In the end, all a man can do is trust the evidence before him, not the nostalgic memories, not the hopeful words, but the truth reflected in daily behaviour. And once you recognise that truth, you regain your power, not just to walk away, but to walk forward with your dignity. The kind of love that matters doesn't confuse you. It comforts you. It doesn't hide in shadows. It stands in the open. And remember this above all: I trust actions, not words. Let that be your compass in love, in life, and in every decision you make from this day forward. Comment to remember: I trust actions, not words. Sign 6. She becomes overly independent suddenly. Sometimes, the first sign is so quiet you almost miss it. She becomes overly independent, suddenly and inexplicably. What once was a life of shared errands, weekend rituals, and spontaneous laughter starts to drift into two parallel tracks, slowly turning into a quiet coexistence rather than a genuine connection. She begins insisting on doing things alone, not as an occasional preference, but as a new pattern. Solo grocery trips, unexplained solo gym sessions, hobbies she once enjoyed with you now pursued in solitude. While independence in a relationship is not only healthy but necessary, this kind of abrupt and pervasive shift isn't growth. It's often emotional withdrawal. As Epictetus profoundly stated, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. But when that freedom morphs into avoidance, when she stops inviting you into her daily world, you must ask yourself what that independence is really masking. Is it empowerment, or is it escape? We must tread carefully here, because modern society has conditioned many of us, particularly men in midlife, to admire stoicism as silence, to mistake strength for passivity. We tell ourselves, she needs space, and we give it, thinking it's virtuous, thinking we're being supportive. But authentic stoicism, as taught by the ancients, is not about ignoring signs. It's about embracing truth without emotional distortion. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts. When a woman's thoughts begin to colour her actions in self-focus and secrecy, rather than shared intention and connection, it's not just a phase, it's a transformation you must pay attention to. Ask yourself, when she says she wants to do things alone now, when she rearranges her routines to no longer include you, does she seem lighter or distant? Is she seeking independence to flourish, or detaching to disappear? The change is rarely dramatic. It's subtle, creeping in under the guise of normal evolution. A new bedtime routine? A secretive tone when she mentions plans? Less eye contact, less laughter. Slowly, the we becomes me in her language and her choices. And men, we've been taught to overlook the emotional current beneath these surface behaviours. But these aren't just shifts in routine. They're signs of a deeper emotional unthreading. The Stoics taught the value of perception, to see things not just as they appear, but to look deeper. He who does not observe the movements of his own mind must of necessity be unhappy, wrote Marcus Aurelius. To live wisely, you must observe the quiet cues that something has shifted. Because when you start to feel more like a roommate than a romantic partner, more like a convenience than a companion, that's not emotional evolution. That's a fracture forming. And here's the deeper truth. When someone who once leaned on you emotionally now seems to be pushing you away in every aspect of life, it often means something unspoken is happening inside her. It could be guilt. It could be unmet desires. It could be resentment never voiced. Human behaviour rarely changes so dramatically without internal unrest. While it's tempting to attribute her change to stress, work, or personal growth, don't dismiss the gut feeling that something is wrong. As Viktor Frankl wrote in Man's Search for Meaning, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. That challenge often starts with honest observation, not accusation, not overreaction, but awareness. For men between 35 and 70, this phase of life comes with a unique emotional landscape. Careers are maturing, children may be growing up or leaving home, and identity often shifts from builder to sustainer. During this period, the need for emotional intimacy and partnership doesn't diminish. It evolves. And yet, when your partner's actions begin to signal that the partnership is dissolving from the inside, Your natural instinct might be to step back rather than lean in, but stepping back, in the name of respect or stoic detachment, can sometimes be the worst thing you can do. Being stoic does not mean being passive. It means remaining emotionally intelligent, calm under pressure, and honest with yourself. You must have the courage to confront the shift, not with blame, but with presence. Engage her in open dialogue, not interrogation. Express concern, not control. Ask not just about what she's doing, but how she's feeling. Real connection is about understanding the why behind the behavior. As Lao Tzu said, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. That step might be a conversation you've been afraid to have, but that conversation could be the difference between clarity and collapse. Gentlemen, I urge you not to ignore the growing silence, the lone schedules, the emotional void that seems to be replacing your shared life. Ask yourself, do you feel respected in this new arrangement, or do you feel like a shadow of the man you once were in her life? Has her newfound independence empowered your relationship, or eroded it? These are not easy questions, but they are essential, because awareness, true stoic awareness, is the first act of emotional self-respect, and from that awareness can come decisions rooted in strength, not fear. Whether that means rebuilding the bridge together or walking away with dignity, the first step is always the same: paying attention. I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. Have you experienced a moment where a partner suddenly became overly independent? What did it mean in your life, and how did you respond? Your insights might help another man recognize the signs before it's too late, because sometimes a shared story is all it takes to light the path forward for someone still in the dark. Sign 7. Her future plans no longer include you. When a woman begins to drift away, it won't always come with fireworks or final arguments. It often comes like fog creeping across a familiar landscape, subtle, quiet, almost invisible, until you realize you're standing alone in a place you once shared. It starts with the language. She used to say we, now it's I. We should travel becomes I want to travel. Let's get a place together becomes I've been thinking of moving. These shifts aren't just harmless slips of the tongue. They are emotional exit signs, quiet warnings that she's mapping out a future where you're no longer on the journey. And when you question it, she plays it off. You're being dramatic, or I just need time to figure things out. But understand this. What she calls space is often preparation for departure. You're not imagining things. You're witnessing detachment, withdrawal, the silent rewriting of a love story where your name no longer appears in the chapters ahead. This is the calm before the storm you never saw coming. You are no longer part of her dreams. That is the first and final sign. Before her body leaves, her mind does. Her heart exits room by room. You'll still have dinners. You'll still hear "love you" in passing. But her eyes, those eyes, stop meeting yours. Affection becomes duty. Kisses lose heat. Conversations get shorter. She becomes less present even when sitting right beside you. You feel it. The ghosting begins not with silence, but with hollow presence. This isn't just distance. This is emotional disconnection dressed as routine. And here's the brutal truth. You cannot fix what she has already emotionally abandoned. You are not overreacting. You are witnessing the quiet death of connection. And no, love isn't supposed to feel this confusing. Now here's the part you must hear like a command from a general. You do not chase a shadow. You do not beg a person to see you again when they've already chosen not to. Doing so shatters your dignity and strips you of your power. Remember the words of Epictetus. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. You cannot control her path. You cannot force her heart to return. But you can choose yours. You must choose yours. In her letting go, you find your call to rise, rebuild, refocus. Become the man who no longer begs for a place in someone else's fantasy. Become the man who commands his own reality. This is modern Stoicism. It's not passive acceptance. It's powerful detachment. It is the art of not needing what does not want you. Marcus Aurelius once said, You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. So use this moment. Let it forge you. There's no glory in clinging to someone already mentally gone. There's no victory in waiting to be left. The real triumph? Leaving first in your mind, with clarity, with composure, and with a plan to become unshakable. Modern life feeds you lies, tells you to fight for her no matter what. But here's your wake-up call. She's not fighting for you. The signs are clear. Her dreams no longer carry your name. Her thoughts move without your presence. Her love, once your anchor, has set sail. So what do you do now? You rise, you level up, you reclaim the energy you spent trying to decode her silence and reinvest it into building a life so complete you never again beg to be included in someone else's. The world doesn't wait for the indecisive. The strong act, the wise observe, the disciplined endure. This is your call to arms. You've been sleepwalking through her exit. Now it's time to awaken and walk out with your head held high. Let go, with power, with purpose, and above all, with peace. Comment below. I choose strength over confusion. Like, subscribe, and share this with a brother who needs to hear it. The signs were there. Now you see them. Don't wait. Act. Cheating isn't a random act. It's a process. Cheating isn't chaos, it's calculation. It doesn't begin in the bedroom. It begins in the silence. The silence when she no longer lights up when you enter the room. The silence when she stops asking how your day was. It begins in the subtle shift from we to me, when her time becomes a guarded secret and her phone is suddenly off limits. That's not privacy. That's preparation. Understand this truth, like you understand your name. A woman who cheats leaves signs long before she ever touches another man. You see them, you feel them. But if you don't act, if you lie to yourself, you become a willing prisoner in your own castle. Men are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them. Epictetus. Don't be the man who sees the signs and chooses denial over clarity. Because once her heart is gone, once she has emotionally relocated, her betrayal is no longer a matter of if. It's a matter of when. She detaches. She rewrites the story in her head, where you're the villain. And then she exits. Not with shame, but with a smile. And that's the wound that cuts deepest, knowing you stayed loyal to a woman who had already written you out of her future. You must understand, your standards are sacred. They are not suggestions. They are not negotiable. A man without boundaries is not a lover. He's a doormat. And every time you ignore the red flags, every time you justify her absence, you teach her that betrayal comes without consequence. What you allow is what will continue. That's not just a quote. It's a law of life. Modern Stoicism isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's about controlling them. It's about saying, I see what's happening, I accept it, and I act with strength, not weakness. You are not here to plead for affection. You are here to demand alignment. A woman who loves you won't put you in a position to question her loyalty. And if she does, you don't argue. You don't beg. You walk. Because real men don't cling to broken things. They rise above them. You don't heal in the same environment that broke you. Remember that. This is not about revenge. It's about respect for yourself. Social media will lie to you. Friends will tell you to work through it, even when the bridge is already ash. But your instincts, your gut, that ancient masculine force inside you, it doesn't lie. It's built on blood, survival, and generational wisdom. Listen to it. When something feels off, it is off. She's not busy. She's replacing you. She's not finding herself. She's finding someone else. Wake up. The longer you wait, the harder the cut. The way to gain a good reputation is to endeavour to be what you desire to appear. Socrates. You want to be respected? Then become a man who respects himself first. Let your boundaries speak before your words do. Let your silence scream what your voice no longer needs to explain. Now is the time to decide. Do you keep tolerating what tears you down, or do you rise and rebuild from the ashes? Do you chase her validation, or do you chase your vision? Do you sit in sorrow, or do you sharpen your soul? This betrayal can be your prison or your portal. This isn't the end, brother. It's the edge of something greater. Her leaving isn't a curse. It's a gift, a doorway, an unshackling. Out of difficulties grow miracles. Marcus Aurelius. Take this pain, forge it into purpose, mould it into muscle, and let the next chapter be written not in bitterness, but in brilliance. Become the man who never questions his worth again. The man who demands loyalty not through fear, but through presence, through power, through purpose. Comment clarity if this just ripped through your excuses. Like, share, and subscribe. Because this isn't just content. This is your call to arms. We don't lick wounds here. We forge warriors. We forge you.